The sound of the gym echoed like a heartbeat. Music pulsed through the walls. Kids were screaming lyrics they'd forget tomorrow, and under the flickering disco lights, Marcus Lee stood frozen, watching Oliver Grant from across the dance floor. It had been 3 months since they decided to keep their distance. 3 months since they promised each other no more risks. Yet in that moment, every promise burned away. Oliver's laugh carried through the noise. The same laugh Marcus used to wake up to on the phone at midnight, whispering about dreams and college applications and a future that seemed real only when they were together. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Graduation night. The last night before everything changed. He shouldn't have come, but he did. Oliver caught his gaze. Just 1 second. That was all it took. Every wall they'd built, every secret glance in hallways, every coded text under fake names. It all came crashing down with a single look that said, "I still love you." Marcus turned away too quickly, pretending to laugh at something his friend said. His pulse was a storm. The gym lights cut across his face, gold and blue, like the shards of every memory he'd tried to bury. He remembered the first time they kissed. Behind the bleachers, in the rain, after a soccer game that no one even remembered winning or losing. Oliver had mud on his cheek. Marcus had been shivering, and the world had been so silent that the sound of their breath felt louder than thunder. Now, on this night, the last night, they were strangers again. The night dragged on. Speeches, flashing cameras, people hugging, crying, pretending they'd stay in touch. Marcus forced smiles until his jaw hurt. But every time he looked up, Oliver was there, dancing, joking, trying too hard to look fine. At one point, their eyes met again. This time Oliver didn't look away. When the slow song started, couples moved to the center of the floor. Marcus's friends urged him to dance. He shook his head, but his feet were already moving. His heart led him closer, step by step, until the music drowned everything else out. Oliver turned just as Marcus reached him. They stood still for a second, close enough to feel the heat radiating off each other, far enough to pretend it didn't mean anything. "You shouldn't be here," Oliver whispered. "I know." Marcus's voice cracked. "Neither should you." Oliver's lips twitched. "Guess we're both idiots." Marcus wanted to laugh, but his throat burned. "Yeah, the biggest ones." The music softened, voices fading. For a moment, the whole world disappeared. Just 2 boys, 1 heartbeat. Then someone shouted behind them, and the spell broke. Marcus escaped to the parking lot, his chest heavy. He leaned against his car, breathing in the night air, the scent of gasoline and cut grass mixing with the perfume of memories he didn't want. He could still feel Oliver's presence like static in his veins. The sound of footsteps came from behind. "Running away again?" Oliver's voice. Marcus turned. Oliver stood a few feet away, his tie undone, eyes glassy with something between exhaustion and desperation. "Not running," Marcus said softly. "Just trying to breathe." Oliver stepped closer. "You always do that. Disappear when things get hard." Marcus looked down. "Because if I don't, I'll say something I can't take back." "Then say it." Oliver shot back, his voice trembling. "For once, just say it." Marcus looked up, and the weight of every unsent text, every fake smile, every quiet heartbreak broke through. "I love you, Oliver. I've loved you since junior year. And it hurts every damn day pretending I don't." The world stopped. Oliver closed the distance, his breath shaky, then stopped pretending. The kiss was quiet, desperate, and real, the kind that didn't care about tomorrow. But the world did. Because just as they pulled apart, the sound of a camera shutter cut through the air. They froze. Marcus's heart slammed against his ribs. A few yards away, 3 classmates stood with their phones out, wide-eyed and grinning. "Oh my God," one of them whispered. "Are you serious?" Oliver's hand dropped. "Marcus." Marcus could barely speak. No. The flash went off again. And just like that, the secret they'd guarded for 2 years was gone. By morning, it would be everywhere. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He sat in his room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every choice that led to that moment. His phone buzzed nonstop, messages, calls, notifications he couldn't bring himself to open. At 3:14 a.m., Oliver texted him. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen." Marcus typed, deleted, retyped. Finally, I know, but it did. No reply. He threw his phone across the room. Outside, dawn crept over the horizon, slow, heavy, merciless. The world was about to see who they really were. By morning, it wasn't just whispers. It was everywhere. The photos were on Instagram, Snapchat, even the school's alumni group chat. Comments flooded in, some curious, some cruel, most just pretending to care. Marcus's parents saw them before he could even explain. His mom's face went pale, his dad didn't say a word. The silence hurt worse than shouting ever could. Oliver, meanwhile, had vanished. He didn't show up to the graduation ceremony that morning. His seat was empty, name still called. Applause still echoed, hollow, meaningless. Marcus walked across the stage with a smile that wasn't real, shaking hands he couldn't feel. Cameras flashed. People cheered. None of it mattered. He looked out over the crowd and saw only the empty seat in the second row. After the ceremony, Marcus found him in the parking lot again, this time sitting on the hood of his car, head in his hands. You didn't show, Marcus said quietly. Oliver looked up, eyes red. Couldn't. My parents saw everything. They're losing it. Marcus swallowed hard. Mine too. They stared at each other for a long time, both of them trying to find a version of the future that didn't hurt. Finally, Oliver said, I got accepted to UCLA. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Marcus felt the ground shift under him. You didn't tell me. I didn't want to make it harder. Marcus laughed bitterly. Harder than this? Oliver's lips trembled. I thought maybe we'd figure it out someday. When it was safer. When we weren't us. When we weren't us, Marcus repeated. That's the problem. I don't want to not be us. Oliver stood, tears threatening. You don't get it, Marcus. My dad said if I don't cut this off now, I lose everything. College, home, everything. And what about me? Marcus's voice broke. You'll just forget me? Oliver hesitated. I'll never forget you. But I can't stay. The next 2 weeks passed in silence. Oliver didn't text. Marcus didn't call. The summer heat pressed down like punishment. He tried to pretend to move on, went out with friends, helped his mom pack boxes for college, smiled for photos. But every night, when the house went quiet, he replayed that kiss in the parking lot, over and over, until it became both comfort and curse. The night before Oliver left, Marcus drove to his house. He parked across the street, watching the lights flicker through the curtains. For 10 minutes, he sat there, torn between getting out and driving away forever. He almost left. But then the front door opened. Oliver stepped out, duffel bag slung over his shoulder, suitcase rolling behind him. Their eyes met, across the street, across every mile that was about to come between them. Oliver smiled, small, sad, real. Marcus got out of the car. The night air smelled like rain. Neither of them spoke as they walked toward each other. When they finally stood face to face, Oliver whispered, You shouldn't have come. Marcus shook his head. I had to. And for the last time, they kissed, not in secret, not in fear, but in goodbye. The first autumn after graduation felt like living in someone else's life. Marcus was at a small college 2 states away, tucked in a quiet town where no one knew who he was. He thought anonymity would help him breathe again. It didn't. Every hallway, every crowded lecture, every dorm party carried echoes of Oliver's voice, the way he used to say his name softly, like it meant something more than just a sound. At first, Marcus tried to distract himself. He joined photography club, went running at dawn, volunteered at the campus radio station. To everyone else, he looked fine, maybe even happy. But at night, when the dorms went quiet and the walls turned thin, he still scrolled through old texts he never deleted. The ones that started with Hey Dummy and ended with Sweet Dreams, M. He didn't respond to any messages from home. Not his parents, not old friends. Everyone had opinions, whispers, apologies they thought would make him feel better. But nothing did. Then one day, a letter arrived in his mailbox. No return address, just his name. He tore it open. Marcus, I don't know if I should be writing this. Maybe it's selfish, but I think about you every day. UCLA feels like another planet. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody asks. But it doesn't matter, because I still hear your voice when I wake up. I still dream about that night, even when I try not to. I hope you're okay. I hope you're breathing. I'm sorry for everything. Oliver. Marcus read it 3 times before realizing he was crying. He didn't write back, not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't know what to say that wouldn't hurt them both more. Winter came early that year. One night, he went out for a walk after midnight, camera slung over his shoulder. The snow was just beginning to fall, small, quiet, the kind that made the world feel gentler for a few hours. He wandered to the old bridge by campus, leaned on the railing, and looked at the river below. For the first time in months, he said Oliver's name out loud. The sound vanished into the dark. He took a picture, the water, the snow, the emptiness, and later titled it Silence Between Us. It won a small contest on campus. People called it hauntingly beautiful. Marcus just called it honest. Meanwhile, 3 time zones away, Oliver was trying to live a new life. LA was loud, bright, and lonely in ways he didn't expect. Everyone seemed to be chasing something: fame, love, meaning, and he was no different. His days were full of lectures, rehearsals, and people who spoke too fast and cared too little. He joined a theater group. It helped. Pretending to be other people was easier than being himself. On stage, he could say things he'd never dare in real life. I love you. Don't go. Please stay. But the nights were the hardest. That was when memories crept back. The smell of rain, the way Marcus used to hum under his breath, the quiet after a fight when neither of them wanted to hang up first. He dated a few people. Boys who were kind, funny, uncomplicated. But none of them were Marcus. None of them looked at him like he was seen, not just looked at. By spring, he stopped trying. 2 years passed like a blur. Marcus transferred to a university in Chicago to finish his degree in visual media. He was doing well: exhibitions, scholarships, new friends who didn't know the ghosts in his story. He even smiled more. But the ache never really left. It just changed shape. He started a photography series called The Spaces We Leave Behind. Every photo was of something unfinished: an empty chair, a half-packed suitcase, an unmade bed. Critics said it explored themes of absence and belonging. Marcus knew it was just about one person. Then, one afternoon in senior year, while he was working on an exhibition proposal, he got a message on Instagram. Oliver Grant official had followed him. Marcus froze. The name felt like lightning. He clicked. Oliver's profile was public: thousands of followers, photos from stage plays, interviews, magazine shots. He looked older, sharper, but still had that same soft smile that used to undo Marcus completely. Marcus's thumb hovered over the follow back button. He didn't press it. But that night, Oliver messaged him. Hey, I saw your work. You're incredible, Marcus. I mean it. Marcus stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Thanks. You're doing amazing too. Been a while, huh? Yeah, 2 years. Feels longer. Marcus's pulse quickened. He could almost hear Oliver's voice again, low and familiar. You still in LA? Yeah. You? Chicago. Always wanted to go there. Don't. It's cold and expensive. Oliver sent a laughing emoji. Marcus smiled for real for the first time that day. They started talking again, slowly, carefully. At first, it was about art, school, music. Then it became deeper: the things they missed, the people they pretended to be, the apologies they never said aloud. Marcus didn't know what to call it. Healing, maybe, or reopening a wound just to feel it again. Sometimes they'd stay up talking until sunrise, like they used to. Only now, miles apart, their words came through glowing screens and late-night Wi-Fi. One night, Oliver said, I keep thinking about that photo of the bridge. The one with the snow. I knew it was about me. Marcus hesitated. You always could read me too easily. Still can. And just like that, everything inside Marcus that had gone quiet for 2 years started to wake up again. That summer, Marcus was invited to show his series at a gallery in New York. It was a huge opportunity, one that could change his career. Oliver sent congratulations immediately. You have to come, Marcus said without thinking. Oliver didn't reply right away. Then, maybe I will. The night of the gallery opening, The city buzzed with noise and light. Marcus wore a black shirt and blazer, hands trembling as he greeted guests, trying to look composed. His photographs hung on white walls under soft lights, fragments of memory turned into art. And then he saw him. Oliver. Standing at the far end of the room, wearing a charcoal coat, looking straight at him. For a second, Marcus thought he was imagining it. But then Oliver smiled, that same, devastating smile that once made him forget the world. Marcus's breath caught. You came. Oliver's voice was softer now, steadier. I told you maybe. They both laughed, awkwardly, tenderly. They walked through the exhibit together, side by side. People brushed past them, wine glasses clinking, soft jazz playing overhead. But for Marcus, time had narrowed to the space between their shoulders. When they stopped before silence between us, Oliver whispered, "This one still hurts." "It was supposed to," Marcus said quietly. Oliver looked at him, eyes glistening. "It does." After the show, they went for coffee at a small diner that never closed. They sat in a corner booth, just like they used to after late-night rehearsals. They talked for hours. About school, family, the fallout. About how hard it had been to forgive themselves. Oliver stared at his cup. "I was a coward back then." "So was I," Marcus admitted. "We were kids. We didn't know how to fight for each other." "I should have called you," Oliver said. "Every day, I thought about it." "Then why didn't you?" Oliver's eyes filled. "Because I was scared. Of losing everything. Of losing you the wrong way." Marcus leaned back. "And now?" Oliver looked up, voice trembling. "Now I'm just scared that it's too late." The silence between them stretched, long, fragile, heavy with everything unsaid. Then Marcus reached across the table and took his hand. "Maybe it's not." The next few weeks felt like a dream. Oliver extended his stay in New York, claiming he needed a break from LA. They spent days wandering through museums, bookstores, old parks. Nights watching movies on Marcus's couch, falling asleep halfway through. It was different this time, slower, quieter, grounded in everything they'd survived. One night, they stood on Marcus's balcony, city lights shimmering below. Oliver said softly, "You ever think about what would have happened if we never got caught that night?" Marcus smiled faintly. "We probably would have been idiots, sneaking around forever." "Yeah," Oliver said, chuckling. "But maybe we would have stayed." Marcus turned to him. "Maybe we needed to break first. To know what it costs to love someone for real." Oliver nodded. "You always were the poetic one." "And you," Marcus said, brushing a strand of hair from his face, "were always the reason." The kiss that followed wasn't desperate or hidden. It was steady, certain, the kind of kiss that says we made it. But life, as always, had its own plans. A week later, Oliver got a call from his agent, a major role in a new stage production in London, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He told Marcus that night, sitting on the same couch where they'd fallen asleep so many times. Marcus tried to smile. "That's incredible, Ollie. You have to do it." Oliver hesitated. "It's 6 months. Maybe more." "I know. You could come with me." Marcus laughed softly. "I can't. I've got the residency here, remember? The one I worked my ass off for." Oliver nodded slowly. "So what do we do?" Marcus took a deep breath. "We don't run this time. We try. For real." Oliver's eyes softened. "You sure?" Marcus smiled, the kind of smile that only comes after years of waiting. "For you? Always." They held each other that night, knowing the clock was ticking, but refusing to be afraid of it anymore. When Oliver left for London, they didn't say goodbye. Not really. They said see you soon. They talked every day, calls, video chats, long letters in between rehearsals and deadlines. It wasn't easy. There were fights, missed messages, days when time zones made them feel like ghosts drifting past each other. But they kept choosing, again and again. And slowly, the distance stopped feeling like a wall. It became a bridge, one they built themselves. 6 months later, Marcus flew to London for the play's opening night. He sat in the front row, watching Oliver move across the stage under golden light, alive in every sense of the word. The audience roared when the curtain fell. Marcus stood, clapping until his hands hurt. Afterward, backstage, Oliver found him. "You made it," he said, breathless. "Wouldn't miss it," Marcus replied. They didn't need to say anything else. In that moment, surrounded by applause and chaos, they just held each other. No secrets, no shame, no hiding. After the play, they slipped out through a side door to avoid reporters. London streets glistened from the rain, neon lights reflecting off wet pavement. Marcus pulled his coat tighter, watching Oliver walk beside him, head high, exhausted but glowing. Oliver's hand brushed his. Just once. A soft touch, accidental, but charged. Marcus smiled. You're still the same, you know. Oliver tilted his head. Same how? You still do that thing. You hide how scared you are behind confidence. Oliver laughed quietly. And you still read me like a damn book. They stopped at a small cafe that was somehow still open past midnight. Steam fogged the windows, and the smell of coffee wrapped around them like a memory. Oliver sipped his drink slowly. When I was on stage tonight, I kept thinking about that night at graduation. How terrified I was to be seen. And now, the whole world's watching me, and it doesn't scare me anymore. Marcus met his eyes. Because now you're being seen for who you really are. Oliver's voice softened. Because now I have someone who makes it worth it. Marcus reached across the table, their fingers brushing again, lingering this time. The hum of the city outside faded away. I missed you, Oliver said. Marcus smiled faintly. You missed the idea of me. Oliver shook his head. No, I missed you. The way you listen when I can't talk, the way you laugh when you're nervous, the way you always leave a space for me, even when I don't deserve it. Marcus looked down, heart aching in that tender, familiar way. You make it sound like I never stopped waiting. Did you? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. They spent the next week together, walking along the Thames, visiting bookstores, sneaking into old movie theaters that smelled like popcorn and nostalgia. It wasn't about making up for lost time anymore. It was about making time matter. One night, as they stood on Waterloo Bridge, the wind tugging at their coats, Marcus said quietly, You know, there's a part of me that still blames that night for everything. The photos, the fallout, how long it took us to find each other again. Oliver turned toward him. And the other part? Marcus exhaled. The other part thinks it had to happen. Maybe we had to break to know what it meant to choose each other, not out of fear, but out of love. Oliver's eyes glistened under the city lights. You always make pain sound beautiful. Marcus smiled. It's how I survive it. Oliver stepped closer, closing the space between them. Then let's stop surviving it. Let's live it. And under the hum of passing cars and the glow of London at midnight, they kissed, unhurried, certain, as if the years apart were only a pause in one long, unending sentence. Back at the flat Marcus had rented, they talked until dawn, about their families, their work, the ghosts that still lingered in their hearts. My parents still don't talk about it, Marcus said softly. About us. Oliver sighed. Mine do. Too much. They're proud now that the world claps when I say I'm gay. Funny how that works. Marcus nodded. It's easier to love someone when the world does too. Oliver reached over, tucking a strand of hair behind his ear. Then let's love each other even when it's not easy. For the first time in years, Marcus believed they actually could. Months passed. Marcus's residency turned into a permanent offer in New York. Oliver's play extended for another season, this time on Broadway. Their worlds, once separated by continents, began to orbit the same sky again. They moved in together, a small apartment in Brooklyn, filled with mismatched furniture and sunlight. The first morning, Oliver tried cooking breakfast and nearly burned the kitchen down. Marcus laughed so hard he cried. Their days were messy, imperfect, real. There were fights over schedules, insecurities, old scars that didn't heal neatly. But every time, they found their way back to each other. One night after an argument that left them both raw and silent, Oliver said, You know what scares me most? That one day you'll wake up and realize you deserve someone simpler. Someone who doesn't come with all this history. Marcus looked at him for a long time, then said quietly, But you're the history I want. You're the story I choose to keep writing. Oliver broke, tears slipping silently down his face. Marcus kissed them away. They started creating together. Oliver wrote monologues inspired by Marcus's photographs. Marcus took portraits that captured the vulnerability Oliver showed on stage. Their first joint exhibition, Unspoken, opened in Soho. It was small but packed with people, friends, artists, strangers who found pieces of themselves in the work. In one corner hung a photograph titled Graduation Night. It showed two silhouettes in the glow of streetlights, hands almost touching. Beneath it, a quote. Some secrets aren't meant to be hidden. They're just waiting for the courage to be seen. When the crowd thinned out, Oliver came up behind Marcus and wrapped his arms around him. You think they'll understand it? He asked softly. Marcus smiled. They don't have to. We do. Later that night, they returned home, the city humming outside their window. Oliver lay with his head on Marcus's chest, tracing idle circles on his skin.